My name is Samantha Caravan. Welcome to our roundtable discussion. Beside me is National Indigenous Bishop Mark MacDonald of the Anglican Church, and here is Rob Walker, postulant in the Diocese of Rupert Land. We're here to discuss the first week's Advent series information called Life as a Series of Sacred Moments. So we're here to consider what is sacred, what, if we examine our lives, looks sacred in it or what doesn't, and to consider what in our faith tradition is sacred and how is it transposed into our everyday lives. So for me, I think sacredness is one of those things that exists everywhere, but I don't always see, that I have to really work at trying to find sometimes.
In what situations do you find that you need to work harder to find it? Is that a fair question?
Oh, sure. I think sometimes I just get too busy to acknowledge that the life I've been given is a gift. And I wonder sometimes if I approached a situation differently with eyes of viewing it as sacred, if the outcome would be different, as opposed to if I went in task-oriented and had some kind of problem to fix. And, you know, for me, that's about, I think sacredness is a gift of God, and it's, I think for me, even more than that, it's a state of existence, a state of being. We're created in the image of God, so it's kind of one of those things. I remember doing this little thing with my kids in Sunday school one time, and I said, anyone who's holy, put your hand up. And of course, no hands went up. So we had a conversation. By the end, I asked the question again, and all the hands went up. So it's that kind of, with new eyes, how do we see ourselves and the world around us?
That sort of reminds me, I first became an Anglican in the Diocese of Calgary, and my priest also gave a children's talk as part of the service, and it was All Saints' Day. And you know, so he took the kids around the church and sort of pointed out the saints, but he ended up saying, telling the story of another little boy that he'd met, that, you know, how would you talk about who are those people? And he was expecting, you know, they're the saints. And this little boy sticks his hand up and said, they're the ones who the light shines through.
Ah.
You know, and so he said, all of you are saints. All of the people of God are saints because the light should shine through all of us. And I thought that was fabulous.
The Indigenous elders often talk about everything in life as being sacred, but that there are certain key moments, certain key places that you could say animate or activate sacredness everywhere else. Or another way of putting it would be that they reveal the sacredness of everything else. For Christians, I think our sacraments, particularly baptism and Eucharist, these sacraments take very ordinary elements and reveal the sacredness at the heart of them. And certainly you could say we bless water at baptism, you could say that we bless the cup, we bless the bread, but at the same time you could say that God reveals the underlying reality of these things created by God and filled with the fire of God's love and power.
Yeah. And in our world, I value truth. I think truth is a sacred thing. And certainly in our secular world, and I have trouble with the secular, thing, because I think everything is connected, whether we're in or out of I don't drop my faith at the door when I go to the library or something. Right. But I think truth is really battered up, and it's hard to find. And I think if we started telling our stories of who we are, authentic stories of who we are, that I wonder what kind of change that sacred truth might make in the world.
I really like the use of that word through my reading of Mahatma Gandhi, but more especially my reading of the Gospel of John. I think that truth is one of the most powerful forces in our universe that, and it's portrayed in the Gospel of John as a very active, very proactive force in life, an agent of change. And I think that for many people today, truth is a description of a characteristic, a static characteristic of a certain event. Truth is if something is true, it means that it's real or accurate. But what Jesus is talking about goes way beyond that. So I'm very grateful for that reference.
Yeah, I think you're right. What Jesus is talking goes way beyond that. It's not about a bunch of data. It's actually a life of its own. Yeah, and perhaps I think in the most truthful moments of my life, I kind of stand in that sacred space between the authentic who I am and the revelation of who God wants me to be, and those glimpses I can see where it is God is leading me. But I really have to work at cultivating them.